Welcome to 7th edition of Drawing Board Competition. I'm Sanjay Mohe. Last 2 years have been a little hectic. We had to have online competitions. But this year we are back to the physical one. And that's exciting. As usual, we started looking at different subjects for the competition. And we were all sitting around the table discussing about various options. And Shweta came out with this idea of building memorial for architect Charles Correa. And instantly all of us agreed to it because it's a wonderful idea. Charles Correa being such a towering personality in our profession, he has influenced all of us, the whole generation of architects. And it would be apt to sort of develop something which is a homage to him. So what is this idea of memorial? And you start wondering whether you need a memorial for a writer or an artist or an architect, because their work itself is an extension of their personality. When you experience their work, you actually see them, you sort of feel their persona. Now, when you see Michelangelo's Prisoner, you can feel his presence with the chisel in hand, working there. So you wonder what memorial will do as an additional thing. Now, when you look at their work, it's not only the final product. There is a whole process which goes behind it, the struggle. And Charles Correa himself puts it across in one of his articles when he talks about Le Corbusier's 8 volumes of work. And he gives example of a footballer or a hockey player. And he says, sometimes you get this wonderful moment where one of the players across the field, he takes the ball and goes through the entire field and scores a goal. And when you look at it, it looks so effortless, so natural, so with so much elegance. But when the whole thing, you see it in a slow motion, you realize that every move is so well calculated. There's a perfect understanding of the next move, what he's going to take. And that's why this whole process happens so gracefully. And for that to happen, you need years and years of dedicated attention, lot of hard work which goes into it. And that hard work, that whole process, that entire journey has to be depicted. And that's what you have to connect with the memorial. And probably that's the reason to sort of make you aware of that struggle, make you aware of that whole journey. That's why you need to build these memorials. And that's why you read biographies. Why you need biographies? Because you get influenced by that entire struggle and then you start connecting it with somewhere. So to perform at ease, you need that. I mean, that's a hallmark of any great personality, any great artist, the ability to perform at ease. And that's what we sort of look for in any of these great personalities. So what this memorial should be all about? Would it be placed to inspire? Would it be a place where you sit down and take a pause and then look at question your own life and connect with something larger, And this is what probably the memorial should do. So we were looking at options of site, and we felt for Charles Correa probably the Goa would be the right place because he has a strong connect with it. Now Goa has a very strong culture. There is influence of East and West. It's a meeting point of two different cultures. There's so much of art, there is so much of music, there's so much of architecture. And even according to him, there are great teachers who are there in come out of that soil. So it's apt to have that memorial positioned in that serene place. Now, the site that we chose is Kala Academy, which is one of Korea's celebrated work. And the way it sits on that site is sort of, it absorbs the people. There is it's all lifted off the ground, and allows the people to walk through and get connected with the river beyond. So there is a kind of a transparency into that building. It allows people to get absorbed into that building, and that's the power of his architecture. That's what his whole philosophy about building. So you have this great structure on one side, and then there is this river which gets connected to the horizon on the other side, and there are this group of trees which are between these two energy centers, and that's where we want that memorial to happen. So you have these trees, shade, and the connection with his own creation, and there is a creation of God on the other side, and then you try to position something which is of value, of meaning, which will connect these two energy points. And in one corner there is a lighthouse, which is again very symbolic. So you have to take care of all these elements and respond to them. We didn't want to restrict you with requirements, giving certain areas and program, because his persona is so great, his contribution is so large, that even if you take few of the points and then try to absorb them into this whole place, there has to be a creative freedom given to you. So that's the reason we said, you decide what you want to put. You decide how you can bring in his philosophy, his thought process, his ideas. Can you make his presence felt in that place, or can you make his absence felt in that place? So that's why you have these trees, the shade, the breeze, water, soil. I mean, you have all the elements and the great creation. So how do you really connect all that and build something which is precious? We all learned so much from his writings, his work, his ability to transform this writing and demonstrate it in reality. So his writings didn't stay as a write-up, it got transformed into reality and you could experience it. That's why we love him so much. That's why we have so much respect for him. And this is a chance for all of you who, if you have not studied his work, which I don't think is a possibility. If you are a student, you would get exposed to his philosophy. But this is a chance to go deep, take a deep dive into it, understand it, study it, and learn from it. Because all of us learn from people like Korea, Doshi, Bawa, how to build in Indian context. How to relate it to the climate, how to relate it to local technology, how to respond to local culture, how to respond to the aspirations of the people. So all that we learn from him, and you have this chance to really study his work, try to take essence of it and represent it in the form of something which would create this memorial. I'll tell you one small story to end the conversation. Long back, a group of architects, one of our friends had arranged one meeting with one of these musical maestros, Dinkar Kaikini. And he was discussing about similarity between music and architecture. So it was about the structure of the music, the rhythm of the music, the order of the music, and something similarity what we find in architectural space as well. The end of it, he played one raga, and at the end of it, he asked us to respond to it. And then there was one person who was not an architect. He said that listening to this music with eyes closed, I could feel presence of a palace, huge column, huge space, And Mr. Kaikini said, this is Rag Darbari, and it is supposed to evoke that kind of feelings within you. So we started wondering if a music can create this great space within your mind, can you reverse the process? And when you build something wonderful, can that space remind you of a music? And that's the challenge. I think that's the challenge you have to address. When you create this wonderful space, this memorial, can it remind you of a great persona? Can a person come there and say that I'm going to dedicate my rest of my life for architecture? Can you do that? And that's the challenge. All the best.